Grand Rising, good people. I'll see y'all in 5 minutes. Five. Y'all thought I was on mute. I wasn't on mute. I was just acting like I was on mute. See, I got y'all today. Got y'all today, man. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Let me actually make sure that I'm really not on mute. Yeah, we're not on mute. I was like, let me mess with them a little bit today, man. Grand Rising to all. Appreciate y'all showing love with all these quotes, man. Getting the perspective right. I knew I was gonna get y'all. Came in with all the energy, like. Oh man, Grand Rising. Hopefully all is well. Man, I had a day yesterday. I got to hang out with my little bro, my mentee, who a lot of the time serves as my mentor. One of my mentor's sons, and one of my mentor's son. And he's next level with his thinking, and he always gives me a good feel of what like the 20-year-olds, what they're thinking on a lot of these different topics. And I learned a lot every time that I speak to him. I get inspired, always optimistic. He's a very optimistic person who's not really concerned, just like, listen, we just gotta, he's trusting that love will overpower hate and that love wins in the end, no matter what. So sitting down with a young person who can kind of calm your nerves a little bit and kind of put things in perhaps a perspective that you weren't necessarily looking at. I think that will, for me, that has been very valuable. And then in the evening yesterday, I met with a friend of mine, a brother of mine, um, somebody that I used to work with a while ago, and we just stayed connected. And he's also one of the best surgeons that I've ever seen in person. Because y'all know I used to be in the OR. I used to be in the operating room selling the medical devices. So I used to see, like, if you got your shoulder repaired or your knee repaired, I used to be in there telling the doctor how to use the product, before I even knew exactly how to use the product. No, but yeah, you'd be surprised what goes on in the operating room. But with this particular doctor, never had to do any of that. And like I said, we've connected. I haven't done anything work wise over the last probably maybe almost 10 years now that I'm thinking about it. Damn. Yeah, almost about 10 years, 9 years at least. And now we just kind of have a good relationship, exchanging ideas. And what's funny is, I don't know if y'all saw a while back when I did the interview with Rabbi Manis Friedman. And I don't even think I got to reach out to their team because I don't think that they actually dropped the entire episode. But if you're on YouTube and you ever see a rabbi come up, big beard, and matter of fact, I wasn't even going to show y'all this. Hold on, let me show y'all real quick. I don't even know if they have it up. Rabbi Manis Friedman. Let me see if it's up there. Oh, they do have the entire episode up. All right, so hold on. Let me show y'all this. I didn't think they had the entire episode up. Let me see if I can share the screen. All right, so this is Rabbi Manis Friedman. And yeah, he's big. He's one of the biggest rabbis. He got like 562,000 subscribers. And I don't even know, I forget exactly how we got connected. I think I reposted something that he put on. That's exactly what it was. He put up a post a while ago on the role of men and women in relationships. And I just happened to remix it. You could remix something on YouTube, and it went viral. And his son, I think, reached out to me or commented on the photo or on the video. And I said, yo, I'd love to interview Rabbi Manis and, just have a conversation. Next thing you know, I'm out in Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm out in Brooklyn in a neighborhood that I've driven through many times. And it's one of those neighborhoods, if you go through on a Friday, you see everybody celebrating Shabbat Friday evening, all the kids outside, and it's one of those. So I felt I fit right in. You know what I'm saying? I felt I fit right in, but I went up, pulled up on him. He welcomed me into his house. We went into one of his rooms. They have a studio set up, and we did a dope interview. And I only say that to connect the story yesterday, the surgeon that I was with, it was actually Rabbi Manis was his camp counselor. growing up, and it wasn't even in New Jersey or New York. This was in St. Paul, Minnesota. And just the chances, like connecting. What is that saying that we're only? It's like something degrees apart. I forget. Yeah, I forget. Somebody will remind me in there. But it was an interesting conversation that I had, and not only this conversation with the rabbi, but an interesting conversation that I had yesterday. And it a lot of these conversations based around conflict, you realize that people's beliefs largely serve as almost like a comforting blanket for a lot of us, protection, um, and camaraderie with the team, a greater purpose that you can align with, all the things that I believe are human nature, that we want to be a part of a group. We behave better, or I'm not going to say better, we achieve greater things, we compound things. It's the mastermind approach as humans when we come together. It's the same saying that we've kind of gone back and forth with. You want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together. And I realize in these conversations, and just some of the conversations that we've been having over the last year, longer, but more specifically, just based on the recent conflicts, whether it's Israel, Palestine, whether it's this recent war that we're in with Iran, um, people's opinions of it are largely just shaped based on their experiences. And a lot of the times, those experiences that we lean into to shape our perspectives are largely based on the things that emotionally engage us the most. And a lot of those things that emotionally engage us the most are the fear based things. So a lot of the decisions and how we see the world are based on fear. And the more fear we have as individuals, we tend to go lean heavier into whatever group we identify with, whatever group may identify the strongest, whatever, like if we have a certain, let's say we have multiple groups that we identify with. Well, in times of fear, which group would you choose to identify with? Perhaps the ones that you see as the most united, the strongest, the ones that are willing to, or the ones that make you feel protected in that moment. And a lot of times, those divisions, and then when we have chaos, those divisions, they separate us. They create chaos. They create reasons and justifications to where we'll be complicit in certain things that we otherwise wouldn't if we weren't so retreated into our group with our group's way of thinking. And I asked myself this yesterday. It's something that I always ask myself, and something that we've asked on here, where is peace possible? And I was looking at a bunch of different videos regarding whether or not peace is possible. And what I came across was a lot of videos that are describing, well, or asking the question, well, what exactly is peace? And most of us, in my opinion, I don't think that we ever take the time to really understand what peace is. We look at peace as, well, we almost look at it on a spectrum where war, let's say, is over here, and peace is okay over here, right? Okay, war here, peace here. War is us fighting right now, people dying. Peace is what? Us taking a break, not fighting, nobody dying. And that's not really what peace is. And it's because it's harder to perhaps define what peace is to a lot of people. It's easy to define what war is. It's people killing, people dying, conflict, right? But when it comes to peace, we don't even realize that we see it as a spectrum of here, but peace is really over here, it seems like. Because we look at, and I was looking up, different things on YouTube, has the world ever been at peace? And a lot of things were coming up saying, well, we've never been at peace. We may have taken certain pauses, where, okay, hey, we're taking a break or we're huddling up, let's say, to make a sports reference, but we're not really peaceful. We're just waiting and equipping ourselves, getting ready for the next conflict when it strikes. We're preparing. That's why we're building. Everybody's in a race to create nuclear weapons. Everybody's in a race to develop the most advanced weaponry because they know that ultimately, in their minds, the day will come where they have to defend themselves, or the day will come where they will need to take somebody else's things. And in order to do so, you got to make sure that you have a prepared army and military force. So, can you prepare for war and focus on war while not even understanding what peace truly is, but think that we can ever actually achieve peace? And it's almost as if we've made it so unattainable in our minds that we just accept a less than definition of peace to be what peace is. It's like if you have it's almost like there's a curve on the test when it comes to peace, or we just think that, well, we can't have actual peace. So at the very least, y'all are never going to like each other. Y'all are never going to embrace each other. So at least just don't kill each other. You know what I mean? That's what we see as peace. And I think it's limited us. It's limited us in a lot of what we can achieve, what we can aspire to achieve, and what we can even visualize. I was having a conversation in one of these conversations yesterday. I don't even remember which one it was, but if you can't visualize something, then you can never attain it. If we can't visualize what peace is, and I even, I think I put what up on the criticals comments. Um, if we believe that it's really human nature to be at war, then that's what we'll do. But why do we believe that that's human nature? Why do we believe that that's human nature? Why do we set limitations on what human nature is, but we don't set limitations on the things that humans can do in any other aspect of life? We feel like we can go to the moon, we can create robots, that act as humans. You can have an AI girlfriend, you can have an AI boyfriend, but peace, no. That's human nature is to just kill. Well, human nature used to be to live, in caves, or maybe to some people, human nature used to be to not have electricity. That used to be the foundation, right? But what does even human nature mean? Who we were born to be. So now we believe that we were actually born to be violent criminals, warmongers. That's what we were born to be. But then it's like, how can you believe that? But then also believe from a religious aspect, or, oh, I guess, well, then we reference the story of Adam and Eve. There's all these different things that we create a story around, that we figure out how to rationalize in our own minds why we can't have peace. And I think for a lot of us, it's because we don't even know what peace is. We've gotten to the point where it's a waste of time even defining what peace is, or even searching for a true understanding of peace, because it's not realistic anyway. But then war is. So let's start off with and my apologies, I know I was rambling, so didn't get to highlight some of these quotes. So let's go back. I'll read a few of the quotes. Won't be able to read everyone. Bear with me. And then we'll get into this quick video of JFK. So this is the rundown. We'll do a quick video of JFK, kind of like just a little highlight tape to set the mood for the show. Then we got a couple different updates on, there's something actually with RFK Jr. and regenerative farming, regenerative farming. Then a clip from Al Jazeera, actually, just from I think it's a well-rounded perspective. May not be to y'all, but we'll see. As far as like what Iranians are feeling, and the difference between diaspora Iranians compared to Iranians that are actually still living in Iran, and how we've been forced to see this conflict and pick a side as if it's just this side versus this side. And you have to choose. And it's very similar to, I guess, what we end up doing from a political standpoint. We're so accustomed to just choosing the lesser of two evils that we forget that they're both evil. So you got to choose this or choose that. And it is what it is, because we're lazy, because we're all these things that just prevent us from saying, like, and maybe it's a lack of imagination in a lot of ways. Maybe that's why we can't visualize peace. It's a lack of imagination. Think about what we think of as kids compared to what we think of as adults. Largely, life tends to kill our imagination. And after the RFK Jr., actually after the JFK video, I'm going to show you, we'll kind of get into this video on how children describe what peace is. And it's just another reminder that, or another reminder to ask ourselves, what really is human nature. Because kids, to me, are our greatest form of what the nature of humans are, right? What is the true nature of humans? Well, just look at some kids. Look at some kids that live in the world or that are born without as much of a influence of what the world creates, or they haven't had the world influence them as much. That to me is human nature. It's society, what man has created, what we've created, that alters that nature and turns us into something else. That's my opinion. So, like a lot of things, why don't we just go back to the children? See what they're saying, see what their definition of what peace is. And maybe that'll serve as a reminder to us of what it actually is, what we thought as kids, and what went left, what went right, what turned us in a direction to think the way that we currently think. Um, and then we have a longer speech that we're probably not going to get through the entire thing. That'll be at the end with JFK. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with this peace is possible speech. Yeah, and one thing that I wanted to do that we may actually wait until Friday because it's already 8:23 and I've been rambling, so probably may not get to it, is I want y'all to maybe do an exercise, maybe do it on your own. Go through your timeline. Go through your timeline, go through your YouTube timeline, go through your Instagram algorithm, go through your wherever you go on, go through your X for sure, and try to find something that leads you to peace. If you had to categorize things as far as this is peace and this is war, go through your timeline and see which things are filling each bucket. And think about the type of manipulation and indoctrination that we receive on an everyday basis. When you're going through today and you're watching the news, is it something that's positive or is it something that's negative? Is it something that leads to peace or is it something that encourages us to just accept that war is the norm? So it was just something that I was doing yesterday because once again, we're in positivity week, but it's hard to find. Like you actually have to do research. You have to do due diligence. You have to go the extra step. And maybe that's a metaphor for life when it comes to war and peace. It's easy to just resolve problems with war, but you have to go the extra mile to actually seek peace. And if we don't feel like it's even attainable, then we won't even feel like it's worth it. It's almost as if somebody doesn't feel like they can get in shape. They're like, it's not even worth working out. It's not even worth putting my body through these things if it's not going to do anything ultimately in the end. That's the type of mindset that we develop. So let me play this first little highlight. Well, let me read some of these quotes first because they are amazing. And then we'll play that highlight of JFK that I wanted to just set the tone of the show. Shout out to Big Bro Finn in the building. Peace need not be impractical and war need not be inevitable. John F. Kennedy. Yo, the more I learn about JFK, I get saddened. I become saddened because all of these, it seems like so many of these people that are pushing the culture, humanity in a positive direction, it seems like they're always the one that die early. Like a lot of my heroes that I look up to, you throw JFK in there, Malcolm, you throw MLK in there, you put Nipsey Hussle for me. I don't know for a lot of y'all, but people that are like, in my opinion, pushing positivity. No matter where they start, they're moving in a positive direction, pushing the culture. Kobe for me is one of those people that had a big inspiration and still continues to. And it's like, damn, like how did now Kobe is probably unique when it comes to all the other people that we described. He died in a helicopter. Everybody else was murdered. And it makes you just wonder, like, why are these people that seem to be pushing peace, that seem to be pushing humanity? A lot of people may not be aware of or may not hear Malcolm and think that Malcolm was pushing peace, but I recommend you doing a little bit of a deeper dive into who Malcolm was. And you realize that a lot of these people, they intentionally got up out of here um, to F us psychologically, in my opinion. But let's keep going. Finn said, peace is possible when leadership chooses dialogue over division and humanity remembers that it shares one future. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And I'm actually, what's funny is this quote reminds me of something that I saw an exchange between Nick Fuentes and Professor Zhang. So Professor Zhang is somebody that we've been reviewing some of his videos. Somebody that I believe has a very mature way of looking at the world, and is very smart in explaining a lot of these things that we're seeing occur right now and the lead up to a lot of these things. And Professor Zhang was asked by another streamer, influencer, Sneeko, what's the answer to war? What is the answer to solving all these problems? And he said, just leaders getting together and having a cup of coffee. That was the answer. He said, leaders getting together and having a cup of coffee. He said, rather than all the bickering and the fighting. And then 3 minutes later in the stream, the interview that Sneeko was doing with Professor Zhang, Sneeko brought up a conversation that he had with Nick Fuentes. And it wasn't even like he was asking Professor Zhang. I don't think that Professor Zhang went out of his way or aggressively cut Sneeko off and decided to take shots at Nick Fuentes, like saying certain things about Nick Fuentes. And what's funny to me is I see them as being, if there are sides, I don't see them having a lot of beef, I see them having more similarities in a lot of ways, on their stances and views on certain things compared to the differences. But think about that. And then Nick Fuentes actually responded in what I thought was a more mature way than typically he would respond. And he was saying, like, listen, I don't want to fight. He did say that Professor Zhang was deported from Beijing for working with the United States or something. I didn't know anything about that. But then he went on. It's kind of like, I'm just kind of joking, but I don't want to fight with Professor Zhang. I don't want to fight with Tucker. And he was very complimentary of the things that Tucker was doing. And a lot of people say that, and Nick does do this. He picks and chooses when he decides to act like this. But the main point that I want to focus on, Professor Zhang, it's an example of how we can know the right thing to do. Here he was just asked, what leaders should do to prevent war. And he said they should have a cup of coffee. But then when he was presented with a name of somebody that he feels took a shot at him, which I don't think it was a big shot, but how did he respond? Emotionally, he took a shot back. So I think that's a reminder of how we can get caught up in a lot of these things. And when we get emotionally engaged, we don't even take our own advice. And what does it end up leading to? It ends up leading to war. So it was just that quote just reminded me of that, Finn. But let me move on. Let me move on. We were born for cooperation, like feet, like hands. To act against one another is therefore contrary to nature. The Honorable Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, Book 2. Shout out to Big Bro Steve in the building. What's up, Big Bro? When the power of love overcomes the love of power. Whoo, whoo, oof. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix. That's a heavy one. Simple, direct, easy to understand, but definitely one that is heavy. One that's heavy. All right, let's keep going. And I know we saw Critical in the building. We saw Bubbles in the building. I see Mama Lay in the building. Big Bro Robert in the building. Love Like Lucy's in the building. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Appreciate y'all. HCB is in the building. Do me a favor, like. I'm gonna try to start as soon as I can. We got I in the building. Finn's got another one. Peace need not be impractical and war need not be inevitable. And then this is one. Peace is possible when leadership chooses that. Wait, I think we already went over these. I'm sorry. I'm recycling these. My fault. It's giving me them again. Hold on. I saw something about San Diego. We got Uluwehi in the building. Y'all know I got Unk in the building. Shout out to Unk, man. Once again, we got Critical in the building. We got Boogie Bug in the building. Hold on. I see Mama Lay. Hold on. Mama Lay has something. Did Mama Lay have something? 6 degrees of separation, but I believe it's 3. All right. Yeah, definitely. All right. Yeah, I'm with that. That was to my question. I appreciate that. All right, let's get in. My fault. And shout out to Professor in the building. As you said, Steve said that Professor needed his help. All right, so let's get into this first video that I just want to set the tone when it comes to JFK, because I've been getting inspired by JFK as of late. And it's like, damn, this was our president. Just think about it. This was our president. This is who our president was. And then think about the president that we have now. Think about the recent presidents. Think about all the bombs that our recent presidents have dropped on people, the wars. Think about the intelligence that this man is speaking with and just pushing with the passion of peace. Y'all take a listen. Y'all take a listen. Are we on the screen? Hold on. Let me make sure we're up. All right.
We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. Every thoughtful citizen who despairs of war and wishes to bring peace should begin by looking inward, by examining his own attitude towards the possibilities of peace. Too many of us think it is impossible. Too many think it is unreal. But that is a dangerous, defeatist belief. It leads to the conclusion that war is inevitable, that mankind is doomed, that we are gripped by forces we cannot control. We need not accept that view. Our problems are man-made, therefore they can be solved by man, and man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again. Surely the opening vistas of space promise high costs and hardships, as well as high reward. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. But this city of Houston, this state of Texas, this country of the United States was not built by those who waited and rested and wished to look behind them. This country was conquered by those who move forward, and so will space. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept. The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired.
I wanted to play that first little snippet. And even hearing that, I don't know if y'all had the same thoughts that I had, but it started out for me. And it finished off very inspiring. But even within it, there's contradictions. Even within it, there's contradictions. When you start off talking about peace, and then you talk about how was our country formed, it was conquered. It doesn't necessarily paint a picture of us really believing that we can seek out peace. But if we approach perhaps peace with the same level of aggression that we approached conquering different things using the negative, then maybe we can actually have a chance at having something move in a positive direction. I think a lot of the things that he mentioned, even from, if you seek peace, look inward. The thing that stood out to me is, and a lot of people have said it, a lot of people said it in the comments, even right here, which is that peace is not possible. What did JFK say? That's a defeatist mentality. If peace is not possible, then what are we even here for? If peace is not possible, then what are we even here for? And what's crazy about it is if we probably polled 100 people and asked them like, yo, do you think peace is possible for humanity? Do you think peace is possible? I would guess that probably 70% or more people would say that it's not possible. Probably closer to maybe 80 or 90%. I don't know. Maybe it would be a little bit less with this group chat, in our family here. But overall, most people do not believe that something is attainable. And think about all the goals that we set for ourselves when we're kids. All of the dreams that we used to have. Oh, I'm going to be this. I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to go to the NBA. I'm going to become a surgeon. I'm going to become this. I'm going to become that. And what happens as we get older? We compromise our imagination and dreams because reality sets in. And when I mean reality sets in, it's not a reality that we can't attain certain things. It's a reality that it may be a bit harder than we initially thought. Now we're a little bit busier. When we used to use our imagination as kids, we had a different level of maybe testosterone in a lot of ways, a different level of excitement. We believed that we could make a change in the world. But then as we get older, it dies down. So it's the same thing when it comes to this. If we don't believe that something is truly attainable, then we'll make excuses why we can't do it. We'll make excuses. Oh, well, I can't accomplish this because, that other person, they come from a background with money. I'm disadvantaged. So therefore, I can't accomplish these things. It's the same way that we look at peace. If we do not believe that it's attainable, we'll do a few different things. One is we can't even create the vision for ourselves. The way that we used to see the world as kids is totally different than the way that we see the world now. And you could see it amongst friends. When I'm around certain friends, it's like, bro, I don't even want to be around y'all because y'all just dim the light that I believe, like, that I have for myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm over here. I truly believe that I still can accomplish anything if I'm willing to work for it, if I'm willing to sacrifice the things for it. But when you're around certain people that question themselves and their ability, what do they naturally do to you? They project their own insecurities on you. So it's the same thing that we do internally. We project our own insecurities based on us not wanting to work hard for something, and we allow that to create reasoning for why we shouldn't even try to do something. It's a defeatist mentality. We do it in every aspect of life, And the people that don't have a defeatist mentality, those are the people that we end up working for. Those are the entrepreneurs. Those are the people that never stop dreaming, and we end up working for them because they don't have that defeatist mentality. They keep going. They keep pushing. They do not care. They don't let the reality of the world currently, the reality of their current worlds determine where they can go in the future. This is what I'm hearing. So I don't know if y'all feel the same way when it comes to these type of things, but it's a shame that we create these imaginary ceilings for ourselves. It's a shame that we create these imaginary ceilings for humanity. It's a shame. And what it ends up coming down to is we don't want to do the work internally. Because if everybody decided to do the work internally, this would be something that could turn around like that. But people are lazy. People are discouraged. People have been beaten down. And people have been convinced by people that want us to be convinced that all we need to do is have some type of success around our little bubble. As long as I'm living okay compared to the person next to me, compared to the people that grew up with me, compared to the people that are in my bubble, then I'm okay. I'm content with life that way. We stop dreaming. We stop imagining. We stop all those posters that we used to have on our wall growing up of people that never developed the defeatist mentality. We stop embracing that mindset and start embracing the one that creates a mediocrity that when you're trying to achieve something great, you can never have a mediocre mindset. Most people, I see all these different quotes of these successful people where they say most businesses don't die. Like this was one that I just saw. Most companies don't die. Most businesses don't die. It's the spark in the entrepreneur that died. The spark that used to just keep them going. Keep pushing. Some people give up. Some people just don't. That's what it ends up coming down to. And when it comes to peace, we've just given up. We've completely given up. That's why you can have a book, you can have religious beliefs that clearly state that you should not kill other people, that clearly state that you should not seek vengeance, that clearly say that you should turn the other cheek, that clearly state that Jesus rewards people that avoid conflict. We have these same people that are now complicit and okay with, oh yeah, we can never have peace. We got to just go to war. It's a complete contradiction. It's a complete contradiction because we don't truly actually believe. We believe when we have to do the bare minimum. You look around at this world today, right now, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to work, when it comes to every aspect of life, people do the bare minimum just to get by. And we will never accomplish peace by doing the bare minimum because the people that are trying to push chaos on us, they're not doing the bare minimum. They're exercising every single day. They're working hard at creating chaos. They're putting money into it. They're putting effort into it and energy into creating chaos and to limiting our mindset of what we can achieve. But we think that we can then overcome that with bare minimum. Just some thoughts. Just some thoughts. Yeah. Let me actually play this video for y'all of what children describe as what peace is. And you tell me if we're serving our children, if we're truly serving the next generation, or instead, if we're just being cowards and embracing a defeatist mentality. Y'all tell me. Let's get to it all.
It means that you can make peace by making your body be calm. If you need the space, you just scoot.
Settle and quiet.
When you're listening to other people,
just being calm.
You can be free to be creative.
Family.
Harmony. A state of enlightenment. For me personally, like being asleep, like I think it's probably one of the more peaceful things you can do.
Whenever you get to do exactly what you love.
Community.
Being content.
Not being afraid to go where you want to go. Do what you want to do.
Fulfilled.
The element of being nice to someone.
That you have space for yourself. Pretty. Pillows and blankets and beds. School. It will look green. Being quiet.
Being able to agree on things and compromising.
Taking care of your friends.
Probably treating others the way that you would want to be treated.
People playing.
Setting aside differences to come together for the greater good.
It would look like a place that had direct communication as a real basis.
Really big trees. I feel like trees make people nicer. People think about other people before they say stuff.
Just being chill with one another.
Respecting everyone's opinion and not judging anyone. Probably Cavelli. I just feel so loved here and it's a big community.
But yet we're convinced that human nature is to be at war with each other. How can the most intelligent individuals, the most advanced beings in this world believe that it's human nature to be at war with each other when that's society's imprint on humans? And society is largely controlled by who? When we look around at society, we always talk about it, right? It's the cabal, it's the oligarchs, we're no longer saying elites. The society that we live in is controlled by a few people. And we allow a few people to dictate what human nature is to all of us. Society is controlled by the 1% of the 1%, 1%, whatever. And we allow them to dictate what human nature is to all of us, and we just accept it. But then we have kids. The purest form of human beings are children. Can anybody argue that? Our purest forms of who we actually are children. We're failing them. We're failing them. We're teaching them that, oh no, you can't truly have peace. That's just something that you do in elementary school just to get along and just to get stickers, from the teacher. That's not anything. Like when you give up and when you grow up and you got to deal with the real world. No, that's the world that we've allowed to be created. That's the world of a bunch of, and I have to say it like this, a bunch of coward men, first and foremost, that have allowed it. Selfish, greedy, cowardly men have allowed us, and we've allowed it. We've allowed them to dictate what our view is when it comes to human nature. So now when we just believe that that's human nature, we just accept it. It's just an excuse. It reminds me of, somebody saying, it's like, you ever had somebody, oh man, like in sports, you see this all the time where some people accept like, oh, well, I'm just, that this person, they were just, taller than me. And, they were faster. So therefore, I couldn't compete. There's no way that I could have made it. You're just making an excuse for yourself. You're telling yourself this so you can feel better about not trying to do something that is very challenging. It's the same excuses that we give to why we never try maybe entrepreneurship, why we never try to get a raise on our job, why we never try to become certain things that we believe that maybe people from our community and our neighborhood will never become. People just don't want to go through the hard work. Yes, your journey may be harder than the next person. So what? That's not an excuse not to do it. Just like, yes, peace may be a lot harder to accept. And think about where we've gone as society, It's now easier for us to accept war, people killing each other and violating the God that we supposedly pledge and give our lives to and pledge as our Lord and Savior. It's become easier for us to violate that God than to just challenge ourselves to become the best versions of ourselves, to maximize our potential, to do something that, and you know what it comes down to? People don't like working at anything that they don't see as a guaranteed result. So therefore we just accept it because we don't know that it's a guaranteed result. Like we can try to push for peace. We can try to move society in a more positive direction. But because we don't know that it's a guarantee, we're too cowardly to even try it. So what does that end up doing? Then we repeat the cycle. We repeat the cycle with the young kids. And they embrace that mentality. They embrace the mentality that, oh, it's okay for man to violate God's wishes, God's commandments. It's okay for man to violate that when other men tell us that it's okay to do it. It's okay for us to go to war and kill each other because, well, the leader of my country told me to do it. Damn. So who's really your God? If you have the mindset that peace is not attainable and that human nature is for us to be at war with each other, who really is your God? I can't imagine Jesus saying that, because what would be the purpose of living? Didn't God decide to flood the planet when things were going, like when the world was wicked, when the world was evil? So I think it's safe for us to say that no matter what religion you preach, God does not want us all killing each other. So damn, we're not willing to work hard and try something for God. And that's why I say that people don't really believe in God. These religious beliefs that people have, it's all fake. It's all phony. Because if all these people, let me give y'all something real quick. Let's actually look this up. How many religious people are in the world? Let's actually look this up. Approximately 75 to 85% of the world's population identifies with a religious group, which equates to over 6 billion people out of a global population of 8 billion. You're telling me that 6 billion people are religious, and we've just accepted 6 billion out of 8 billion are religious, and we've just accepted violating God, violating our religion, because we've been convinced that that's human nature. People aren't really religious. Just because you put a jersey on doesn't mean that you're going hard for that team. You just wear the jersey. You think wearing the jersey makes you a part of that team. No, you actually carrying out and living those principles makes you a part of the team. You having some water splashed on your forehead when you're a baby and don't know what's going on, or getting dipped in a pool of chlorine, whatever, wherever you are, you think that that makes you religious. Well, actually, it does make you religious. It doesn't make you godly, though. It doesn't make you spiritual. It doesn't make you actually serve the religion that you claim to serve. What it does is it makes you this watered down version of what we have currently accepted as religion. Because other than that, how can you have 6 billion out of 8 billion people align with religion and the world be what it is today? Us never ever experiencing true peace in the world. So either the problem is the religion, or the problem is the people aren't actually carrying out the religion. Which one is it? It has to be one or the other. But what do? We're too lazy to actually dig deep into, well, what's the root cause of this problem? And that's part of the defeatist mentality. Oh, this is just human nature. Us saying those things, that us being at war with each other is human nature, is a slap in the face to any God, to any creator. That's like a parent. That's like a kid telling their parents, like, oh, it's just family nature for us to just, my brother and I to just kill each other. That's a slap in the face to our parents. But we just accept it. So it's got to be one or the other. It's either the religion, or it's the people not actually serving the religion, carrying out the ways of the religion. Which one is it? But we're not willing to ask ourselves these questions. We're not willing to put certain things. We're not willing to have everything on the table when it comes to how can we achieve peace. I told y'all before, I've sat in these meetings with friends and with friends of mine who are religious, belonging to different religious groups. And I asked them this one question: would you give up your religion for peace? And not one of them said they would. That is a defeatist mentality. That is a demonic mentality of people that believe that they're actually living with God. And we see a lot of this throughout the world. Think about how many wars have been created by people that actually think that they're doing God's bidding. They think that they're carrying out the will of God and they're doing it in the most demonic ways. That's what we've accepted. When you can't answer that question of would you be willing to give up your religion for peace, you've been conquered by the devil. Show me another way. Show me another way to make sense of that. Show me another way to make sense of that. You don't really want peace. You're just selfish because you have a personal relationship with the way you see God, with the way you see your religion that supersedes everybody else in the world. And that's not godly. God is united. God is all of us as his children, right? Let's move on to the next video. Let's move on to the next video. I was going to get into this regenerative farming, but I think I'm going to save that for Friday. I want to take a look at this this video. We're keeping it positive, right? We're keeping it positive, but I do want to take a look at some of this video because even though we're keeping it positive, we can look at some realistic things that are going on. And I think these conversations can ultimately serve as context so we can advance our understanding and hopefully advance how we currently see the world. Because if not, then we're only going to end up in one place. We're only going to end up in one place if we don't change the way that we do things. And it's exactly where we are right now. It's exactly where we are right now. Let's share.
Thinking and saying right now.
Hold on.
Walk people in it. Just so many people on social media sharing with the world.
And very quickly, before I get into that, I know I haven't been paying attention to a lot of the comments. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Aristotle. It's head knowledge without heart knowledge. HCB, shout out to my brother. Yeah, but no religion ever created this technology we have and the ability to communicate with anyone alive. Bro, technology is not the problem. It's what we do with the technology. That's what JFK was saying. These are man-made problems that we have. So therefore, if it's a man-made problem, then we can have man-made solutions. Blaming it on technology the same way, it's what we choose to do with the technology. The same way that somebody that social media can destroy, these young kids, and they're becoming so dependent on social media and it's causing them to have anxiety and all these other things, is the same way that we can go on social media and YouTube and look up the videos that we're watching this week. We can go research. We can go learn. We can learn how to build. We can learn how to become a mechanic. It's not the technology. It's what we choose to do with it. The same way it's not a particular religion. It's what we decide to do with it. Technology is not our God. Like technology, we allow it to be. But we pick and choose the impact that it can have on us. It can have a positive impact. We can look up a bunch of videos. We can spend time today on YouTube, and we can have sound bowl healing, right? We can go through meditation. We have just as much as we have access to all the negative stuff, we have access to the positive stuff, but we choose. And a lot of times we choose the negative. We choose to accept it because those are the things that get us excited, right? We want to see the violence. We want to see the fighting on social media. We want to see the ignorant things that we know that are leading us in a negative direction. And why? And how do we justify it? Because we know that it's wrong. We know that we're promoting something that is not positive, but we justify it with the thought like, oh, well, human nature is, us to be at war. Well, we can never, actually achieve peace. We tell ourselves all these things to justify us doing the things that give us instant gratification rather than the things that give us gratification based on us having a definite purpose that advances society, that advances humanity, playing the long game. We choose instant gratification every single time. Those quick little dopamine hits. Not the big ones that come with us actually achieving our purpose, us actually having a purpose that goes beyond just ourselves. It all starts with me, period. Period. Oh yeah, definitely hit that like button. I love this right here, Critical. No one is broken from birth. We are just empty containers waiting to be filled. We pick and choose what we fill ourselves with. And a lot of times our parents pick and choose what we fill ourselves with. We all have a responsibility. We are in this place right now. It's like sometimes, do we ever ask ourselves, like, how did we get here? We're in this position based on the decisions and the mindset of the people that were here before us. And just like this younger generation, if we don't like where the younger generation is, well, guess what? They're there because of the decisions and the mindset that we have. Is anybody going to take accountability and responsibility at a certain point? Or are we all just going to embrace that defeatist mentality of peace is impossible? Peace is impossible. We're like, how do we look at our kids and how do we look at our kids in the eye and just okay with bringing them into a world and raising them in a world where we just accept that no, war is inevitable? How are we okay with that? Let's take a look at this.
World, what people in Iran and connected to Iran are thinking and saying right now. Walk me through what it's like to get in touch with family and friends and contacts in Iran these days.
Honestly, it's been very difficult. For one, what I've learned, and I've kind of confirmed this with other Iranians that I've spoken to in the diaspora, we cannot make calls from the United States to Iran through a landline at this current moment. I don't know why that is.
This call is being routed by Google. The cost of this call is 15 cents per minute.
So they, however, can make calls in Iran outside of the country to us. So I've actually been getting updates from my mom, for example. So she gets calls from her sister, who then updates us on the safety of our family, making sure people are, I mean, can't believe it's come to this, but making sure people are still alive. I did, however, receive randomly a voice note from a relative this morning, unexpectedly. So it does appear that there are spurts or brief moments of internet connectivity. I then immediately asked him how he managed to connect. And that message still on WhatsApp has one check mark, meaning it's not been delivered.
You are in New York right now. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn.
Well, Yara, a lot of this conversation is going to be you taking us behind the scenes into your group chats, into your DMs, what you're seeing.
Totally. And also there's little bits and pieces on social media that I'm going to try to attribute weight to each one. You know, I've been seeing reactions of terror, of horror, of people not believing what is happening to Tehran. I mean, you're seeing footage on Instagram, pieces of it that are being uploaded, places that I have walked through in Tehran. I mean, to see them destroyed. I think I saw one that was near Ferdowsi Square. That's actually where one of my, it's kind of crazy to think, one of my favorite Mexican restaurants in Tehran is. It's an old restaurant. My mother actually used to dance with her friends on the dance floor of that restaurant before the revolution. After the revolution, the new regime sort of banned dancing in public spaces, especially for women. So then it became sort of a Mexican restaurant, but that dance floor is still there. Anyways, you can see because the tiles are different.
And I know we always look at, like, especially a lot of the culture in the Middle East, and none of us really know what's going on. Even people who live there, 50, 30 years ago, I don't know if you understand what's actually going on. Everybody's perspective is different. But even something as simple as dancing in public, it just reminds me of what religion perhaps was, and that each religion came to serve the particular problems of that day and time, right? So if you have a religion that, let's say, came into being right now, that religion would want to serve, let's say if it had positive intentions, it would want to serve today's problems, right? But today's problems are not always tomorrow's problems. So we get so locked into a religion of today, and that serves today's problems, but then we carry it on without advancing it, without understanding, without wanting to. It's almost like the same level of laziness that we talked about before. We're too lazy to see, like, okay, let's balance this out. Let's figure out how to make this. Okay, we solved this problem. All right, now things are what they are now. So that religion may be too oppressive for this time, or it may be too liberal for this time. Because a lot of us like to look at a lot of these Middle Eastern religions, Muslim religions, as they're oppressive, women can't dance. But then you look at America, all this twerking in public and all this sexual acts and all these other things. And it's like, well, hold up. Who is America to? Oh, that's being free. That's being free. Okay. So what I want us to do is kind of take a step back and not necessarily judge so harshly somebody else's culture and use that to rationalize why it may be okay to go to war with this regime without doing what we said earlier, looking internally, looking inward at the things that maybe America struggles with. So that's kind of what hopefully I'm saying it right. Maybe I'm not, but let's keep going.
That's next to Ferdowsi Square, and I'm seeing photos of a place that appears to be near Ferdowsi Square that is completely destroyed. And then on the other hand, you're seeing other emotions. There are some Iranians who have been celebrating the assassination of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei.
This is what radicalism creates. This is what radicalism creates. How does a country found on Christian values, even when I look at America and us celebrating, or even Iranians celebrating, The world has lost when people are celebrating death. It doesn't matter who it's the death of. The world has lost when people are celebrating death. When people are celebrating somebody and their family members being bombed, the world is lost. What makes you any better than the person that you say was committing all these atrocities and moving in a demonic way? What makes you any better when you're celebrating those same demonic actions, but you just justify it because from your perspective, well, that's okay because that person did evil things. Well, now you're in that category of doing evil things. So should somebody then bomb you? As soon as we start this type, and this is what radicalism creates. This is what us versus them, this tribalism creates. This is what accepting the lesser of two evils creates. People celebrating the death of somebody in their family. And a lot of Americans celebrating it, and we don't even know what the hell is going on over there. We don't even know if half the things that we hear is propaganda or we don't know any of it. But we're celebrating, we think that we're winning the war. That's why I was so impressed with the foreign minister of Iran and what he said. I don't know much about him, but I'm just talking about what he said in particular in this interview, when he said that nobody wins this war. So what are we celebrating? These people act like their team just won the Super Bowl. They're celebrating death. No matter what you think you're celebrating it for, you're still celebrating death. That's the energy that you're putting out. So do you expect things to become more peaceful, more positive? What is let's get biblical. What is the biblical term? Violence only begets violence, right? If violence only begets violence, then why are we celebrating violence? Why are we justifying certain violence? How can I sit down with somebody who's telling me that they embrace Christ's principles on one hand, but then I know that they've been manipulated, perhaps, and indoctrinated to now think that, well, if Trump calls me to go to war, then I got to go to war. You can't, the world is full of contradictions. Trump decides whether or not it's okay for us to violate our God's principles. Oh, well, it's not just Trump. It's also because we need to help free the Iranians. You don't know anything that's going on in that country. There's a lot of people that probably see propaganda about America thinking we need to free ourselves. Look at all the protests that we put up. Look at all the Black Lives Matter protests that are instigated by George Soros and all these other groups that have absolutely nothing to do with the actual even person dying. They're all manufactured. It's manufactured by people with a lot of money, that a lot of power, that want to create chaos and division amongst us. That's it. And if something else to consider, why haven't we seen any protest when it comes to the war in Iran? 80% of people in America do not agree with us going to war with Iran. Where are the protests? I don't think that 80%, even when it comes to George Floyd or Mike Brown or Tamir Rice or Freddie Gray or any of these situations, I don't know if 80% of America were against these things. Maybe the George Floyd situation, but maybe not a lot of the other ones that created a lot of protests. And even which, I don't know if 80% of us are against going to war with Iran, and I have not seen one massive protest. Why is that? Maybe that should remind us or enlighten us to the fact that protests are created by people with political agendas. They put money into certain people and say, hey, they put money into Black Lives Matter. They put money into Antifa. They put money into all these organizations because it's a political play, not anything about righteousness. How can 80% of America agree on something and the country decides to do something else that's going to put all of us at risk and a lot of our young, brave soldiers at risk, and nobody's protesting? I haven't seen, where are the protests? We allow ourselves to be controlled and manipulated, and we don't even realize it. When they say, oh, we're protesting here, we're protesting that, everybody makes their signs, puts together a protest. Oh, yeah, we're protesting. It's all based on group mentality. We only want to do something if somebody else is doing it. Nobody has the courage to actually stand on anything on their own. Where's all the protest? Oh, nobody's funding it. There's no money behind it. So therefore, we're not doing that. You telling me that we can turn the country over for one person having a knee on their neck? We can completely turn the country over for one person. But now we're going to war where 80% of the people in the country don't agree with it, and not one large scale protest. And it goes to show us that both, I don't care what you listen to when it comes to it's easy to for a lot of liberals and Democrats to throw shade and to say certain things about Trump. But where are the protests? Where are your politicians? Are the Democrat politicians telling us to protest? They'll talk about Trump, but it doesn't seem, I don't seem to hear a lot of the energy pushing against the war and staging protests against the war. Where is this energy? Is it only when George Soros, a billionaire, puts money behind it? Is it only when the people with a lot of money, they put money behind it, and you hear these YouTube compilations where everybody's saying the exact same thing, and you're like, damn, did they get a script for this? We pick and choose what we want to protest and don't even realize that all we're doing is being a shill for some sort of political agenda. But we convince ourselves that we're doing something righteous. How do 6 to 8 billion people, 6 out of 8 billion people are religious? And we allow wars to happen because man convinces us that we should violate God. And 6 billion of y'all are religious. 6 billion of us are religious. I'm sorry. I'm not religious, but whatever. 6 billion people. Where's the protest around the world going on? Protesting this war in Iran. Where are those protests? Let's keep going.
It's important to also note that, this leader, specifically in Iran, many Iranians have a very negative view of him. I mean, there's been it was a brutal massacre that took place in January, thousands of Iranians killed in this very violent crackdown. So you're seeing that response. And some Iranians, I mean, again, we really have to try to disconnect our person.
HCB, I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. And this is part of the problem. And I'm assuming you're talking about Jewish people, only JW. I'm calling bullshit. And this is part of the problem, bro. I got to call you out on it. This is that victim mentality, bro. This is that only Jews have time, bro. Dr. King put together a protest to protest buses, and people were walking miles to work. And you telling me our lazy asses don't have time to protest? Bro, we spend time watching TV, Netflix, all this other stuff. It ain't like we working out. We drive to work. Not having time is that's a bullshit excuse, bro. That is a bullshit excuse. Only Jews have time now. I can't let that. See, that's the type of mentality. That's corny. No, Jews make time. And let's be very clear. You may not like what Jews do with their power and their unity, but Jewish people are a lot more intentional, a lot more serious than the rest of us. And that's why all this, we sit here and say, well, Jews control everything. Jews control everything. If that's the case, how embarrassing is that for the rest of us? That they're outworking us, outperforming us, out-uniting us. I've told y'all plenty of times when I celebrate Jewish culture, Jewish people ain't waiting around for a Messiah to come to help save them. They're doing it themselves. They're doing it themselves. You look into the Jewish culture and you understand why they're successful. You go read You Revealed by Naftali Bennett or certain books like this, and you'll see very easily why they're successful. So don't give me that excuse of only Jews have time. See, that's where things get. I don't like when the conversation goes that way. I don't like that. And I'm not saying that you're taking it all the way there, but I'm just using your comment to highlight something that I hear with a lot of people. Only Jews have. No, Jews make time because things are important for them. You know what we make time for? We make time to go to the store to buy a bunch of dumb stuff, expensive things that we don't need to show off for people that don't even matter to us. Jewish people are intentional. They're buying stock while we're buying clothes. They're uniting with their family while we're going out to the club. They're taking a day every week out of their lives to just sit, hang out with family. And then only Jews have time, bro. Only Jews have, all right. Jews earn time. We don't earn time. We waste time.
Personal opinions sometimes when things are rapidly unfolding here.
Right.
Some Iranians have been excited, hoping that something like this may lead to something better. But of course, we know, as folks who do have the privilege of being one step removed, having watched what has happened in Iraq and Libya and all these other countries, and having experts and political analysts and historians weigh in, that in the vast majority, if not all cases, these wars spiral out of control. And that initial glee in the first few days, things do not necessarily turn out the way that one would hope.
Yeah.
But
staying on this same point, because I got to nail this down. Everybody believes that they're doing the right thing. It doesn't matter. Like, I've sat down with I think, this is just my opinion. Palestinians believe they're doing the right thing. I believe that most Jewish people believe they're doing, no matter how extreme you are on one side or another, people have been convinced that they're doing the right thing. My question is, if the Jewish people believe that they're doing the right thing and following, their scriptures and all this stuff, why are they more committed to theirs than other people that claim they're religious, that believe that what they're doing is the right thing? How can a small percentage of Jewish people have control over a large, it's like we throw this word around, Jewish people control everything. Yeah, because they're working harder than us. They're working smarter than us. They're sacrificing more than us. See, we like to look at at the end of the season of people who won, right? We like to look at the benefits that come with people winning, entrepreneurs. We look at the end of it. Oh, well, this person is just this because of that. Do you not realize what it took for them to get in that position? Now, once again, I'm not talking about what you do when you get in a position of power. But I don't know how else to look at it. Christians don't worship their God the way that Jewish people worship their God. Christians waiting for somebody to come back and to save them. Jewish people are saving themselves. They're more intentional. They're more purposeful. They're more united. They're a more serious group of people. All you got to do is study their religion. All you got to do is hang out with a few of them. They don't play games. They're not wasting time in society like a lot of us. It's different. So, and you can sit here and say, well, as if they have some type of superpower. You get around a lot of Jewish people, they're not as athletic. There's not even anything that's super. I'm being totally straightforward with y'all. There's nothing that's even super impressive. You know what I see around a lot of the successful Jewish people that I've been around? They outwork everybody and they work together. And they avoid a lot of the BS that a lot of us get caught up in. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Matter of fact, Muslims in a lot of ways, like with the Palestinians, it does. You can even look at Hamas in some ways and say that Hamas believes what they're doing is the right thing. And they're going out there and executing on it. Meanwhile, Christians are the majority of people in the world, make up the majority. I believe Christians are still the majority, a little bit over Muslims. And Christians just sit back, just waiting for the Savior to come. The Christ consciousness is supposed to be in us, not us sitting around waiting for it to come like it's a package that we're waiting to come in the mail.
Iran, people, I feel like, there's sort of a misconception here. Iran is actually quite safe.
And hold up. And this is another thing. This is another thing. Shout out to Solid. Solid wrote, they work together and stick to their own, and morally they believe that they are superior. So what? So what? Have you ever competed in a game? Do you go into a game thinking that you're inferior? Do you go into a game thinking that you're inferior when I'm getting ready to compete against somebody? Perhaps more of us, and I'm not saying that you have to look at it from a superior standpoint when it comes to it creating a mindset amongst you to where now you think that you can do certain things. Like, let's say, y'all know where I feel about what Israel is doing. I think it's demonic. I'm being straightforward with y'all. I think it's demonic. But us sitting here and complaining, they think they're better than us. You know what? They're actually showing us that they're better than us. Not from a moral standpoint. And when I say better, let me be very clear. They're showing that they are willing to sacrifice more than us, that they're willing to push themselves more than us, that they're willing to unite and build together more than us. They don't have to say that they're superior. A lot of lazy people sit back and say, they think they're better than us. They think they're better than us. Bro, you're lazy. They're not. Bro, you should wake up feeling like, I'm not saying that I wake up feeling like I'm better than anybody else, but maybe more of us could benefit from embracing a little bit of that mindset. Maybe since there's a spectrum of it, right? Let's say inferior is over here and superior is over here. I'm not saying that you need to feel that you're superior than anybody else, but maybe we should be somewhere in the middle, because there's too many of us that wake up believing that we're inferior. Look at all the things that we've discussed, how much of a defeatist mentality we have. We believe that we're inferior. We believe that we got to wait for somebody to come and help us. You tell me if this was a metaphor in any other area of life where you got one group of people that you could take it, whether it's on the work, at the job, whether it's in sports, whether it's anything in life. You got some people that are proactive on this side who are not waiting for somebody to come to they don't need to be inspired. They don't need to wait for somebody to tell them that they can do this or wait for somebody to help save the team. They're working hard to do it themselves. And you got another group, they're sitting around waiting for something. Oh, well, I don't want to practice. Can we practice? Coach isn't here yet. Well, coach is late, so why would we start practice? We know that practice starts at 2. We know the exact stretches, the exact conditioning, the exact workout that we should do. But, like, if coach ain't here, then I ain't trying to do that. Come on, bro. Like,
me as an Iranian who's 35 years old, in my lifetime, I have not witnessed, having lived and worked in Iran, having traveled to Iran, spent years of my life across various moments of my life in the country. We do not know war like this. Guns are forbidden in Iran. I feel safer in the streets of Tehran when I was living there than I did in New York in some places. And now all of a sudden in the past year with the Trump administration, all of a sudden this country where we would just not fathom the connection to war after the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s, of course, is now just parts of it are in ruins.
Did you hear what he just said? He said that there's parts of Iran where he said he feels safer than New York City. Now, is that the picture that's painted for a lot of us? He said there's parts of Iran where he feels safer than being in New York City. Why is that picture not painted to us? Why are we not aware of that?
And all of a sudden, this is forbidden in Iran. I feel Iran, having traveled to Iran.
He said guns are forbidden in Iran. Like this. If this ain't the pot calling the kettle black, like who is America to talk about a regime built on violence and all these other, like who is America to talk about these things? I think it was John Mearsheimer. Hold on. And I gotta remind myself, keep it peaceful, keep it positive, keep it positive. But I'm gonna keep it positive. Hold on. Let's. I have to show y'all this real quick. I wasn't planning on it, and I know that this is leaning in. We gotta be realistic, but also, I'm trying to keep it positive, but we also got to be realistic. Take a look at this.
71 to 2021. And it asked what were the consequences of those sanctions. And we murdered 38 million people. 38 million people. The amount of havoc we have wrought on the Middle East in recent years is just stunning. If you think about the consequences of the Iraq War, what we do in places like Venezuela, Cuba, Iran, you understand we're using this tremendous economic leverage we have to basically starve people, to make them suffer, to inflict great punishment on them so that they'll rise up against their government. You understand that this is what we're doing in Venezuela. This is what we're doing in Iran. We're inflicting massive punishment on these people. Given all that, I find it very difficult to talk about the United States as a noble country. I just don't. 71 to.
From 1971 to 2021, the U.S. murdered 38 million people. From 1971 to 2021, the U.S. murdered 38 million people. We got any protests for that? Don't get confused by us standing on some sort of moral high ground and the propaganda that we receive with a lot of these Middle Eastern countries to think that these people are so barbaric, especially considering that we create a lot of the chaos in these places. Look at the sanctions that we've put on Iran when Iran just simply wanted to make more money on their natural resources. When Iran decided, hey, we don't want to get extorted. These are our resources. We want to make money off of these things. You look at what happened in Venezuela. We are creating chaos in a lot of these places. We'll put sanctions on them, so we destroy their economy, their people in their countries. Then they rise up against the government because that's what we're looking for. And then we have protests in Iran with the Iranians saying they want to be free. And then we feel like we can come in as the savior when we created the problem in the first place. Are we religious or are we not? Are we founded on Judeo values, Christian values? What are we founded on? Because then I can make sense of a lot of this stuff. All of us that are, if you claim that you're a Christian, if you claim that you're religious, then what are we violating in your God's name? And what are you doing to stop it? Are you a soldier for America or are you a soldier for your God? Because if the question I ask is, what are you doing while America's doing things in the name of Christianity and acting as if we're the savior and that's going to come and help the regime and free the Iranians and all this other stuff? Knock it off, bro. Wake up. Let's go back to the video. My fault. Did I get, here it is.
Iran, spent years of my life across various moments of my life in the country. We do not know war like this. Guns are forbidden in Iran. I feel safer in the streets of Tehran when I was living there than I did in New York in some places. And now all of a sudden in the past year with the Trump administration, all of a sudden this country where we would just not fathom the connection to war after the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s, of course, is now just parts of it are in ruins.
Why don't we have protests about what happened during 2020 with these vaccines? But aren't y'all upset that y'all took a vaccine, that we were forced to take a vaccine, that now the experts are coming out saying, like, yeah, we should have never put that out? But it's the same thing that happens with Iran, where we just pick a side, whether, hey, we got to either be for the Ayatollah or we got to be for America going in and killing the Ayatollah. We can't have one or the other. That's the same exact thing that happened with the vaccine. Either you're an anti-vaxxer or you're helping humanity and taking the vaccine. People are so limited in their thinking. Hey, can't we make sense of this? Well, Well, I'm not anti-vax, but maybe I'm just like, hold up, I need a little bit more information on this. But they fear-mongered us into taking something that now all of the experts are coming out saying, that shouldn't have been put out there. So imagine all the complications that came with people taking the vaccine. Where are the protests for that? Oh, I guess there's no money behind it. So our country, the most moral country, bro, it's ridiculous what we just accept. It is ridiculous what we just accept and what we force on our own country, acting as if we're some sort of free country. They forced us to take a vaccine or we couldn't go out the house. They created all this fear mongering around the virus, around the flu, around a strain of the flu, so they can make Big Pharma a whole bunch of money and not care about how that complicated our lives, how that may have impacted the health of us. They couldn't test this thing. And then when you look at the Epstein files and you realize, oh, they're doing research on this well before this. Like, hold on, this is what does Bill Gates have to do with this? Wait, why is Bill Gates on TV talking about vaccine? And you're connecting a lot of these dots. Where are the protests?
It's sorry, that was a very long response, but it's
No,
kind of
it's a lot. I appreciate you.
HCB, are you confused, brother? This is the fucking protest. What do you think I'm doing right now? What do you think I've been doing for the last 4 years, the first 3 years, not making any money, talking about these things and exposing them? This is the protest, not me marching with a dumbass sign, going out in the street and saying, free us, free us. This is the protest, waking people up, taking a step away from religion and maybe looking at things from a more spiritual approach. This is the protest, brother. What you mean put your money where your mouth is? Put the money aside. I've been standing on this shit for three plus years, not making a dollar from it. Committed to it, sacrificing my job, making a whole bunch of money and having that cut in more than half and still pushing this. This is the protest, waking people up, understanding that we don't have to go and choose the lesser of two evils. This is the protest. I've been protesting this stuff. Go on my social media 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I've been pushing these things against questioning religion, having friends turn on me, all these type of things, having my parents thinking that I'm going crazy. And maybe sometimes I was. Them questioning the things that I made, like, yo, is this safe for him to, bro, this is the protest. You know what the protest is? My mom and I creating the OG Foundation, where we're serving kids in our community 3 times a week, working with the soup kitchen, volunteering our time, teaching them about history, teaching them about real estate through playing Monopoly, teaching them about manners, how to present themselves, teaching them how to become better speakers, better readers. This is the protest. The protest, what do you want me to be Al Sharpton and go protest? You think that's a protest? This is the protest. What the fuck?
Taking us into that. One of the things that you've been doing is talking very publicly.
Do you hear the things that I talk about when it comes to calling out certain aspects of Israel, the Jewish community? Bro, I work with all these people. I work in healthcare in New York City and Miami. This is the protest, bro. When I go sit down with the doctor that I work with, the first thing he brings up, oh yeah, I've been watching your podcast. What you think he thinks about it?
About the danger of flattening all of those various pieces you just talked about into one story, the danger of reducing Iran to a simple binary. You wrote recently in a piece you did for AJ Plus, stop dismissing the lived reality of Iranians because of a false binary, that you either support imperialism or you're an authoritarian apologist. What do you mean by that?
I think with Iran, we often find ourselves viewing the news through sort of this prism, and we all have our own prisms, right? And we view the news through that prism and through the issues that are important to us. We have a whole slew of people, as we all know, that see news in Iran, see news break out. Again, news is happening. It's out of our control. And they'll say, is this good for the regime in Iran or is this bad for the regime in Iran? If I have the prism of, is this good for Palestine? Is this bad for Palestine? I view something that happens in Iran. Is this good for imperialism? Is this bad for imperialism? And so there's a lot of sort of geopolitical thoughts of people decide to share things on the basis of whether it aligns with their politics. People decide to accept the validity and the veracity of certain news on the basis of whether it aligns with their personal geopolitical goal or whether it does not align with that goal. And this creates, I think, unfortunately, a number of false narratives. I am, for example, on the receiving end of some
brother, what? Yo, God damn. Are you that confused, my brother? Putting boots in the streets? What are you talking about? What? Putting boots in the streets is protesting, bro? You know what protesting is? I heard actually Professor Zhang said this. The most rebellious thing that you can do right now is read a book and disconnect from the things that society is pushing on us. Boots in the streets? Bro, this is not the 60s. Newsflash, we're still protesting the same things that we were protesting in the civil rights movement, right? Based on a lot of y'all that still act like y'all disadvantaged and don't have the opportunities, we're still protesting the same things. What do you want to go for a march? You want to make signs? Bro, free your mind. That's the protest. Be the person in your friend group that doesn't have a problem with questioning the way that we've accepted certain things and maybe people not liking you. Do that. Be the person that's going to donate time to the community. That's going to give up certain. You over here talking about only Jews got time to take a day off and protest. Aren't you the same person that just said that? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. See, now you're making excuses for perhaps what you're not doing. You talking about our podcasters in Cali are doing the same thing, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're in the I'm clearly doing enough to have you, a complete stranger from Cali, tune in with this family that we're building right here. We're clearly doing enough to have that. You know, have you ever seen Jewish people put boots in the streets and protest? You ever see Jewish people put boots in the streets and protest? Who convinced us that marching in the streets is even something that even matters? You know what Jewish people do? They unite. They build with their family. They're intentional. They improve themselves. They believe in self-development. They try to create them. They try to make themselves more successful and build the community around it. Yeah. You're trying to form two new bridges, bro? What does that even mean? Like, are you talking about like a literal bridge? I'm part of my community in Cali, and we are trying to form new bridges? All right, bro. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on because I don't want the conversation to go somewhere. I'm fine to talk about this offline. Let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. You're missing the point. Let me be very clear. I don't believe in all these goofy protests like Black Lives Matter. What I'm trying to say is that why were there protests? Why did the politicians convince us to protest with Black Lives Matter, but there's no politicians convincing us and organizing protests now? My point is that the protests are just manufactured by people that are trying to create chaos amongst each other. That's the point. I think you missed the point. The point is, instead of going out and marching in the streets and protesting, stay at home, read a book, build with your family, do Shabbat once a week, disconnect from the news outlets. That's the protest. What did I say earlier? Challenge yourself to go through your YouTube algorithm, go through your Twitter algorithm. What's positive? What's negative? How is it shaping our thoughts? Those are the protests that we need. You completely missed the point, brother. You completely missed it, and it's okay. You don't have to keep going down this path, and I'm going to end it here because I don't want to make the entire conversation about you and I going back and forth, but you don't have to just keep arguing to argue, bro.
Some very angry DMs from people and also some very nice ones. I'm going to be honest. I've been quite uplifted by some of them, but I'll share footage or, let's say the school attack. Folks have been sharing some really, horrifying images and videos of the school attack that happened during the opening salvo of this war.
Around 170 people were killed when a strike hit a girls' school on Saturday. Most of the victims were children.
And now we have some people saying, why are you sharing this? You're supporting the regime's narrative. That was an inside job, that the regime did. And yes, so that is a real phenomenon happening. Or you're sharing videos and footage of destruction caused by the bombs. And they're saying, why are you sharing this? People hate the regime. This is not, you're just playing into the regime narrative. And we have folks on the other side, right, who are then saying, why are you ignoring the real ills of war? This is
We're going to protest right now. I'm going to show you how to protest, brother. I'm going to show you how my way of protesting. That may be my way. To each their own. To each their own. To each their own. And yeah, John, I'm a lot of people were saying that Martin Luther King sold out when it came to the March on Washington. That they only got together certain black leaders that were going to push this particular message. Right. And this was around the time where right after Martin Luther King supposedly said that he's led his people into a burning house. There's a reason why the presidents were willing to work with Martin, but not necessarily work with Malcolm. They were trying to make it seem like Malcolm was the black messiah. We need to get him out of here. There's a reason to that. But let's start this protest right here. Instead of doing what we usually do, the 4-7-8 breath work technique, we're going to start early. We're going to start early with a protest. We're going to do a 7-minute morning guided meditation for abundance and gratitude. Wayne Dyer. I used to listen to this one a couple years ago. I believe this is the one that I used to listen to a couple years ago. Yeah, it came out 2 years ago. We're going to do a guided meditation. For 7 minutes, we're going to disconnect from what society has clearly taught us is acceptable and human nature. And we're going to tap into something different. This is the form of protesting. Not everything else that just creates division and us fighting each other and all this. We're going to do a 7-minute form of protesting. Now, can people commit 7 minutes? I don't know. I don't know if you can commit 7 minutes to protest. Some people may be on the job. Some people may, if you're on the job, no problem, do it later. You may not have 7 minutes right now, but we're going to do a 7-minute guided meditation. We're going to do it a bit longer since we need to enhance the protest today. Let's let's see. Let me share this screen with y'all. Vons, I see you in the building, baby. We got OG Vons in the building. Let's do this guided meditation. We need it today. We want to stay positive. My apologies for slipping up if I did. But we're gonna try to get it back. We're gonna do this 7-minute guided meditation. To each their own. You do the meditation however you decide to do it. You decided. And Vaughn said the podcast is over. No, the podcast. This is the most important part. This is the most important part of the conversation. Let's see if we can do the 7-minute guided meditation. Let's see if we can not agree on certain ideas, but still come together and figure out a way to meditate so that way we can still build on the rest of the day. Let's see if we can do it.
Welcome to the Able Mind, a time for you to connect with yourself and release any negative energies that may be holding you back. Find a comfortable position, either lying down or sitting, and allow yourself to become fully present in this moment. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. As you breathe in and out, allow yourself to become more and more relaxed, feeling any tension melting away from your body, visualize yourself surrounded by a white light, filled with love and healing energy. As you continue to breathe deeply, allow this light to enter your body, traveling through every organ, cell and muscle. Feel the warmth and peace it brings to each area, allowing any tension or negative energy to be released. As you relax more and more, allow your mind to become still and calm. Observe your thoughts, but do not engage with them. Simply allow them to pass by like clouds in the sky. Now, bring your awareness to your heart center, feeling the love and compassion that resides there. As you breathe in and out, allow this love to expand and fill your entire being, dissolving any negativity or self-doubt. Visualize yourself standing in a beautiful forest, surrounded by tall trees, and the sound of a gentle stream nearby. As you breathe in and out, feel the peace and tranquility of this place wash over you. Imagine a gentle breeze blowing through the forest, carrying away any negative energy that may be lingering within you. Allow yourself to be swept up in this breeze, releasing anything that is no longer serving you. Now repeat after me. I am worthy of love and healing. I release all negative energy from my body, mind, and soul. I am filled with light and love. Continue to breathe deeply, feeling the love and healing energy within you, growing stronger and brighter. When you are ready, take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Allow yourself to return to the present moment, feeling relaxed, renewed, and energized. Remember to carry this feeling of love and healing with you throughout your day. Now, as you stay in this space of healing, notice how your body feels. Perhaps you feel lighter, more relaxed, or more energized. Whatever you feel, let it be okay. Trust that this meditation has helped you to release any unwanted energy and to bring more balance and healing into your life. Take a moment to express gratitude for yourself for taking the time to do this meditation and for allowing yourself to heal. You deserve to feel good and to live a life that is filled with love, joy, and peace. Remember to stay connected to this feeling of healing and to continue to bring this positive energy into your life. You have the power within you to create the life that you desire, and with each breath you take, you are one step closer to achieving that. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, slowly open your eyes. Allow yourself to come back to the present moment, feeling more grounded, centered, and at peace. Remember, you are worthy of healing and you are capable of creating the life that you desire. Thank you for joining us today for this healing meditation, and we hope to see you again soon on Able Mind.
Oof, oof, oof. That felt good. That felt good. That felt good. That felt good. Nice little reset. Needed that. Needed that little reset. That's a perfect example of where taking some time to be still can reset things, and a perfect example of where probably HCB and I probably agree on 99% of things, but you can still go back and forth and get consumed and turn the conversation into whatever it just turned into, which is not a big deal. But I'm just saying, if you magnify that, we see how these type of things happen. And sometimes you got to just be still. We're going to have back and forth. We're not going to always agree on certain things. We're going to misinterpret into whatever it is. But when we can come together and always meditate at the end and release the meditation releases the ego. It releases a lot of things just for me. So Finn said, run it again, bro. Oh man, love HCB, man. HCB knows that's my brother, man. And when I come out to Cali, I'm staying on his couch. He knows that. So yeah, man. This is I'm very, very appreciative of y'all. Very appreciative. Very appreciative. For sure. Very appreciative for sure. So man. Shout out to Samira in the building. Samira just came back. Nah, let's I'm gonna wrap this up, man. Y'all know we come here to do elevate on purpose. Let's do the outro a little bit differently. I think we should ask ourselves, what is peace for all of us? And I think what that will ultimately do is create something that's real for us. A lot of times we don't believe that things are attainable unless we see other people around us doing it, unless we can, see somebody in whatever way doing those things and accomplishing them. So it just becomes like something unrealistic that's unattainable for a lot of us, just because we can't truly conceptualize it, can't visualize it. So maybe just asking ourselves, what peace is. What peace is. Maybe going back and looking at that video that we played earlier, or any video on YouTube where we're hearing kids describe what peace is. Maybe that will bring us back to our state when we didn't have as much of an influence, indoctrination, all these different things that society puts on us. Maybe that'll refresh our memory and get us back to what human nature perhaps should be. So hopefully hopefully we just want to get a little bit better every day. Just move into that direction of positivity every day. It's not going to be, well, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say it's not going to be an overnight thing. It may be an overnight thing. It may be a slow process, maybe a long process, but us moving in the right direction, I think, is going to make sure that we ultimately get to that goal, because we cannot have a defeatist mentality. We cannot have a defeatist mentality. We have to understand that we are capable of achieving anything that we can conceptualize, visualize in our mind. We are capable of achieving it. And If we don't feel like we can do it by ourselves, then that's more reason to just work with somebody else, work with the group. That's why I'm grateful for y'all. Because perhaps if there wasn't this group, this family that we built, maybe I wouldn't believe that we can accomplish the greater peace. Maybe I wouldn't. But the fact that we have people in here from all over the world tapping in, all different backgrounds, we don't even know what everybody's background is. Sometimes you see somebody's face, or you'll see somebody on their like, let's see if we're on X, or you're on another platform like Discord. You actually get to see what people look like, or people sharing their photos, and you're like, yo, you don't even realize that this is we want to create a microcosm of the society that we would love to become the macro. And like I know Big Bro Steve said it, I think Big Bro Finn said it, and maybe a few others that I'm forgetting. It all just starts with us. And y'all know Queez always says it. It starts with me. Queez has been saying this on this stream for 3-4 years. It starts with me. Change starts with me. So it's the same thing that JFK said in the first video. All of this stuff, we know exactly what we need to do. There's no way that we feel that we can create peace amongst the 23 people in here right now, and we don't think that we can build that culture, build that energy infinitely, right? So that's what I got for y'all, man. That's what I got for y'all. Figure out what you want to focus on. Figure out what we want to focus on. Figure out what groups, figure out what we're capable perhaps of doing internally, and then figuring out how we can connect with like-minded individuals that also have the same goals, or even if it's not like-minded individuals, but just people that have the same goals. And let's work towards it. So that's all I got for y'all. Let's be the change. I'm optimistic. There's war. There's war going around us. It is what it is, but I'm optimistic because somehow we'll figure this out. We have to. We have no other choice. So on that note, I'm gonna let y'all go, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let me actually, did we get any? Let me highlight. Let's see. Hey, I'm with that. HCV said, let's protest no work on Saturdays. I'm with a lot of these things, man. I'm with all that. Let's figure out, like we said, I think what we understand is that nothing's off the table. So maybe that's the challenge. Let's stick to just one thing. We gave ourselves one challenge. Let's just define what peace is. Let's define what peace is, and then figure out a purpose built around that. So Queez sent the fire emojis. We just gonna keep pushing. We're gonna keep pushing. I'll see y'all Friday, 8 a.m. All right, Friday, 8 a.m. And yeah, I'm gonna start telling y'all we got some dope shirts coming out for y'all. And I'm gonna explain the meaning behind why the M is the only letter that's capital in that. Because it's not just a lowercase m. There's a difference between it. And maybe y'all have heard me talk about it, but maybe not. If that, I'm rambling. It's already 10 o'clock. I told myself 10 o'clock, we out of here. I'll see y'all soon.